Hi, Vintage Guitar people. Welcome to Have Guitar Will Travel, presented by Vintage Guitar Magazine, with your host, me, James Patrick Regan, otherwise known as Jimmy from the Deadlies. And today I'm speaking with guitarist Joe Robinson, who I met while he and Jed Hughes were performing with Rodney Crowell in Petaluma, California. Joe opened the show, and his acoustic playing was so technically and soulfully over the top, I had to interview him. We discuss growing up on a farm in the Australian bush, hearing Jed Hughes and meeting Phil and Tommy Emmanuel, and his informal mentoring by both Phil and Tommy. We talk about winning Australia's Got Talent and touring the world at an early age and touring with Tommy Emmanuel shortly thereafter. We talk about his first trip to Nashville at 15, literally knocking on doors with his guitar in hand and recording his first album with Paris McLeod. We talk about his friendships with Red Volkart, Johnny Hyland, Brett Mason, amongst so many others. And we talk about gear, including his unconventional string gauges and his relationship with Alexander Dumble and the champ that Dumble built for him. We talk about the work that Joe is doing during COVID, including his YouTube videos and his work with Sergio Assad. Joe talks about his practice routine and his plans for a new album with producer Brent Mayer. Joe tells me about where he gets his drive and his work with country music icons Rodney Crowell, Emmylou Harris, amongst many others. And we also talk food, farm-to-table food. Check Joe out at joerobinson.com. That's JoeRobinson.com. And you can find out everything about Joe, including online lessons through the TrueFire app. Please like and comment, and most of all, share this podcast. I'd really appreciate it. And please support Vintage Guitar Magazine and all the wonderful things they do for us guitar players, because guess what? They do so many wonderful things for us guitar players. Here's Joe.
Hey, is that James?
It is. Hey, how are you, Joe?
Hey, doing quite well, thanks. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you for agreeing to do this.
Oh, my pleasure. Absolutely. So,
I don't know if you knew this, but we've met.
Yeah, were you in Petaluma?
That's correct.
You interviewed Jed?
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember I was in the other room, like restringing my guitar or something, I think.
Yes, you were waiting for me to get it done so you could actually do your work, do the things you needed to do.
No, I actually enjoyed hearing Jed tell his story because he inspired me. I think Jed and Tal Wilkenfeld were the two Aussies that came over here and inspired me to do the same. So I enjoyed the interview.
I need to talk to Tal because I've already talked to Jed and now I'm talking to you, and I talked to Adam Lester. Do you know Adam?
I don't know Adam, but I know his name.
Yeah, he's also from Australia, and he is and was playing with Peter Frampton Band.
Oh, cool. Oh, yeah. You know what? He plays a Maton as well.
Yes, exactly.
I've seen pictures, and I saw their show in Nashville here.
Yeah.
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 It was great. The whole band was great.
Yeah.
It was a great show.
And I had the good fortune of seeing you perform solo before you played with Rodney Crowell in Petaluma. And it was amazing. You were fantastic.
Thank you. That was a fun night.
And it was
I remember it was a rowdy crowd. It was a Friday night crowd, I think.
Yes, exactly. It was very disheartening for me because you're so young and you're so incredibly good.
Oh, well, I don't know.
That's the truth. Both you and Jed. I mean, did you guys know each other before you came to the U.S., to Nashville?
Yeah. I forget exactly where we first met. You know, I grew up listening to Jed and was very aware of him.
Okay.
Kind of in the Australian festival circuit. I think that tour was the first one we did with Rodney together, because usually it's lead guitar and fiddle.
Sure.
He wanted Jed and I both to be on those shows, so it was really cool. You know, both of us have a different approach on the songs, and
yeah.
You know, it was a blast.
Yeah, it was fantastic. As an audience member, it was fantastic to see that happen.
Great, thank you.
So you're obviously from, let's see, with your accent, you're from Australia.
Yep, born and raised, although I'm an American citizen now. I moved here in 2010, and
wow.
And I'm a dual citizen these days.
Oh, congratulations, I think.
Yeah, well, I'll take it.
Good. Are you able to travel back and forth to Australia in these past few months?
I haven't been back since the beginning of the year.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I'll be able to go back later this year. Typically, I go back around Christmas, New Year's Eve.
Sure.
I skip part of the Nashville winter and go back to Aussie summer.
Yeah.
Who knows what things are going to look like in 6 months with regard to the travel restrictions.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy. and inconsistent, but we have to deal with it. So you're from New South Wales, Australia.
Yeah.
When did you first start playing guitar?
I started playing guitar when I was 10.
Okay.
So I played piano a little before that, but just didn't really take to it.
Uh-huh.
And I think it's because I'm just a little bit ADD. I like the fact I can pick up a guitar and walk around with it. I'm not chained to the piano like I felt like I was. So as soon as I started the guitar, I realized that, this is my instrument. I love it.
Fantastic. Did you know of Jed at that young age, or was Jed not around at that point?
No, I think I became aware of Jed the first time I went to the Tamworth Country Music Festival, which, I went there and I heard Tommy and Phil Emanuel for the first time.
Uh-huh.
And I was about 11 or 12.
Okay.
Jed was kind of the hot young guitarist in that scene.
Okay.
So I probably became aware of him quite early on around that time.
And did you meet Tommy at that festival?
I did.
Oh, wow. And
yeah.
And was he an early influence? He certainly must have been.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I hadn't listened to Tommy and Phil a lot up to that point.
Uh-huh.
I was playing a lot of kind of blues rock.
Okay.
I could play like and acoustic music too. I could play like all the Eric Clapton unplugged songs, and I was playing some Jerry Reed and Chet Atkins. There's some local guys that I grew up around that played that style.
Yeah.
I was introduced to Phil Emanuel.
Uh-huh.
Who's Tommy's older brother, who passed away a couple of years ago.
Uh-huh.
Sadly, he was a great guy, and he just was so encouraging and got me up on stage, a bunch of times. And I'm super young, and I hadn't been out of my little town. I grew up way up in the boonies.
Uh-huh.
We got hot water in 2001.
Wow.
And that's no joke.
Oh, wow.
And he introduced me to Tommy. When I heard them play, I just was absolutely floored.
Uh-huh.
Because there was just so much power, confidence, the way that I'd never heard anything like it. And and I think I'd listened to Tommy's albums a little bit, but it didn't really just translate that he was so good.
Yeah.
So I became committed to figuring out how to play like that from that point.
Sure. Tommy plays in a lot of odd tunings, is that correct?
Tommy plays everything in standard tuning.
Oh, does he really?
Well, I'm
cutting that part out then.
he plays a couple things in drop D.
Okay.
And a couple things in like G6 tuning where he drops the D.
Okay.
The E to D and then the A to G.
Okay.
Kind of Chet used to do that on a few tunes.
Uh-huh.
But Tommy mostly plays in standard.
And do you do the same, or are you using other tunings?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just use standard. I have a few things in drop D.
Okay.
But I have enough trouble just staying in tune in regular tuning.
Were you aware of Chet at that point?
Yeah.
When you were young, you already knew of Chet Atkins?
Yeah, there's a family who I grew up around.
Uh-huh.
They're a great family, and their father was kind of like the country music icon of the region.
Okay.
And his son, Brett Jones is his name. He became a boxing champion in Australia.
Oh, wow.
He, retired from his boxing career and moved up bush and had, a few thousand head of cattle and just, was a farmer, and he'd come into town every 2 weeks. And my parents are friends with him, and he could play all that Chet music.
Really?
He has vintage Martin guitars.
Wow.
And old J200 and
oh, wow.
A country gentleman. And I think with his boxing money, he bought a bunch of guitars.
Oh, wow.
He sat me down and showed me how to play Freight Train and Windy and Warm.
Uh-huh.
And some Jerry Reed songs.
Oh,
there
wow.
was this tattered version of Jerry Reed's, what was the songbook called? Heavy Neckin'. So there was a version of that all the local guys shared around. So they showed me how to use a thumb pick and how to play that style, which is really, really fortunate. I'm super glad I was able to learn that, because if you can play that, it sets you up for most of anything, I think.
Were you playing out even at that young age? Were you playing around town and stuff, or in other towns?
Yeah, I had a band called the Chaotic Penguins, and we played. We could play a 4-hour set. This is when it was 12, 13, 14.
Uh-huh.
And it was kind of psychedelic rock, long guitar solos, and we had keyboards and a sax player, and it was fun. And I'd played 1,000 gigs before I was 16. So
wow.
That's all I did growing up.
Wow, that's fantastic. What kind of guitars were you using back then?
Well, early on, before I had a good guitar of my own, my parents had a lot of musicians friends, and they would lend me guitars.
Okay. I
used an old Yamaha SG 700. I think that's the guitar.
Sure.
Like Santana used to use one of those.
Exactly, and highly coveted now. Those things become new vintage.
It had EMG pickups in it.
Oh, wow.
And that was kind of like a great local musician, Alan Morgan. He said, "Oh, Joe, you should play this guitar," because I had some $100 Strat type guitar that was just not really very good at all.
Uh-huh.
That got me by for a while, and then another friend lent me a Les Paul copy made by Emperador, which is Japanese.
Okay.
They made kind of, Les Paul copies in the 80s, I think.
Sure. Yep.
Maybe in the 90s.
Uh-huh.
And I used that guitar for a while, and then I saved up and bought a Fender Strat. I went halves with my dad.
Wow.
So
that's cool. Like a new Fender Strat?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. And you won a bunch of awards early on. The Australian National Songwriting Competition, is that correct?
Yeah, that was a cool moment. I had this lyric in one of my songs. I knew a man from Bellbrook Way. I knew a man from Temagog River. His whole body worked except for his liver. That was the punchline. I think that's what won me the award. 'Cause I'm this kid singing about this area that has a reputation of being a bunch of drunk hippies.
Yeah.
And it was a really cool feeling. Early on, I grew up way up in the bush, and I didn't really have a sense of most kids my age weren't into music like I was.
Sure.
So when I met Phil Emanuel, he said, Joe, most 11-year-old kids are into some Limp Bizkit crap, and here you are playing like Cliffs of Dover and all these Jerry Reed songs. That's so cool, and he really puffed me up. And the songwriting competition and a few of those we won a few Battle of the Bands competitions. And they really encouraged me.
Were you always singing? Yeah,
I was singing back in those days, and then I went through a period where my voice was breaking, and I just kind of was like, you know what, I'm just gonna play. And to be honest, when I heard Tommy, it kind of planted the seed in my head that I wanted to be a solo player. I didn't want to have to rely on band members because I just could never find people who were as obsessed with music as much as me. Like I would practice 7 hours a week, 7 days a week if they would do it. But finding a band that would rehearse once a week was tough enough. Eventually I started playing more solo guitar and a lot of instrumental music, and that's when I kind of went on Australia's Got Talent and won that and became kind of known for that and put out an album of solo guitar songs and kind of just went about things that way because it was so easy to go and take my guitar all over the world. I went to Europe and Asia and
did you really?
Eventually landed here,
At what age did you do that?
I was 16, 17.
Wow.
My first trip was in Europe. And, people said, did your parents go with you? I was like, no, I just went over there.
That was going to be my next question.
I had some help from a booking agent over there and local tour manager. And I think the first show I turned up in Germany and, I was fresh off the farm. And the whole thing was just such a cool experience. I think I put on 10 pounds just eating all the breakfast food over there. I went to Finland and Netherlands and I think I went to England that first trip as well. Once I got a taste for it, I was like, all right, I'm gonna get so good at this thing because look where it can take me.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it shows. It shows your drive. It definitely shows in your playing. Did your parents did you have that kind of drive for other things, or was it specifically music? And did your parents kind of instill that drive in you?
Yeah, they didn't really. I guess they instilled it in me in a sense that, every day I get up and split firewood and light the fire in the morning. And it was like, you didn't get up after dawn. So it's like, I grew up in the bush where it was like you're expected to harden up and work hard, but they never forced me to play music. In fact, I had to beg them to take me to gigs, and they were really encouraging. They were happy for me to do it, and they never blinked twice when I told them I was going to leave school when I was 15.
Wow.
They knew I was passionate and smart enough to figure it out, and they trusted I was going to make good decisions. So that I think they were the perfect blend of just supportive and encouraging, but at the same time, they weren't pushy at all, which I'm grateful for because it saddens me when I see super pushy parents.
Oh, yeah. Well, and you were in Australia's Got Talent. I was going to say America's Got Talent, but Australia's Got Talent, and you probably saw a lot of pushy parents there, I'm guessing.
Yeah, well, I did. And, just growing up as a young gun player, I saw a lot of kids my age who were really good, but it was kind of like they were doing it just to please someone else. I was kind of doing it as escapism because I didn't want to go back to the farmhouse.
Yeah.
And as soon as I was like, oh, I could get on a plane with my guitar and travel around and make really good money.
Yeah.
I was determined to figure out how to do. I think you have to do it for the passion of the love of it and the joy of wanting to connect with people. And I found I had a flair for performing. I enjoyed that. Tommy Emanuel became a a mentor in a sense that I went to see him play when I was about 14, 15, after meeting him that first time, and I played him some of my songs, and he gave me some advice, and he said, you need to work on your timing, you need to write better songs with better melodies, and he just kind of steered me in the right direction, and that became my path. So
wow,
I'm super grateful for him, and Phil. Manuel, and all the people that have been mentors since then.
Yeah. Did you end up touring with Tommy?
Yeah, I've toured with him a lot.
And do you guys still speak and everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw him just before. I think we played the last show before things shut down. Actually.
Okay.
We played in Fargo, North Dakota.
It only seems right that you end up in Nashville, but how did that process happen?
Yeah, I came to Nashville for the first time to meet Tommy.
Okay.
Phil Emanuel called Tommy and said, I got this, this young guy who's been coming to my gigs, and I'll get him up to play. And he said something like, he's going to come over there and whoop your butt. And Tommy says that on stage now. That's why I can say it. Tommy's manager sent me an email and said, hey, Joe, Phil called, and, if you want to come to Nashville, Tommy will be there this month. I think it was the month of July or something. And so I actually borrowed 10 grand from my grandparents.
Wow.
I came over, and my mum was with me at that time. This is my first time out of the country, my first time on a plane. I was 15.
Wow.
Came over there. We stayed at a Howard Johnson on the north side of Nashville, and we arrived at like 11:30 p.m. and there was crack addicts in the stairwell.
Oh my goodness!
It was dodgy. And we were both like, my mom she'd never been to America, and I was like, what is this place? What have I done coming in? But anyway, I had two contacts, both who unfortunately have passed away. Ralph Murphy. And Jeff Walker. Ralph Murphy was an executive at ASCAP, and Jeff Walker had a company called Arista Media, which is like a publicity company, and he's an Australian as well. And they were just very plugged into Music Row. So anyway, I called them. They said, oh, no, you got to stay at a hotel that's closer to everything, because it was like, a 10-mile cab ride or something. It was not good. Didn't make sense. So anyway, we stayed, my mum and I stayed at the Comfort Inn down on Music Row, and I went door knocking and knocked on every building on Music Row. Wow. With your guitar in your hand? I felt like every building. Yeah, I took my guitar and said, I'm Joe. I'm from Australia. Can I play you a song? And, 60 or 70% of the time they'd say, oh, sorry, we're busy right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I got to meet a lot of people, and it just kind of led to me coming back to make an album here in Nashville. And then it led to having management here. And then, next thing I know, I had a visa to play some music festivals. Wow. And I just rented an apartment here, and I've been here 10 years now.
Yep. And the music that you were playing back then, was it your original music?
Yeah. Okay. It was, it was very in the vein of Tommy.
Oh, okay.
My first two albums were acoustic, mostly acoustic albums. My first album, Birdseed, had a couple of electric songs on it, but it's acoustic fingerstyle guitar.
Because I've heard some of your pop material as well. Yeah. And you have a wonderful voice. And I was wondering if you were trying to shop yourself as I don't know how much thought you put into it, but if you're trying to shop yourself as like, one of the new country singer-songwriter kind of people. Yeah,
it's funny because everyone asked, that if I wanted to be the next Keith Urban. and I didn't really know anything about that world. Like, to me, country music was Mel Travis, Chet. And so I was playing, all kinds of fastball guitar pieces, anything that I could do to show off. Yeah. And I was writing, instrumental tunes, and I just didn't really think beyond getting off the farm and getting out there. Eventually the producer who invited me back to make an album is Frank Rogers, and he produced, his Brad Paisley records. And he was a wonderful person to meet. He really encouraged me, and I heard some of my instrumental acoustic songs I'd written, and he said, Joe, every year I try and do a project or two that's just a fun project where, I made some music that I just liked, and don't worry about, having a hit. And if you want, come back to Nashville, we'll take a week and we'll go in the studio and you can record some of these instrumental songs you've written. And it was really, really generous of him, and he helped me with the arrangements. He's a great songwriter and music publisher, so he became a great mentor to me. From there, I toured a lot and realized that playing 90 minutes of just instrumental guitar didn't scratch every itch I wanted to scratch, so I wanted to sing again. Yeah, I kind of made a pop album. It's interesting because it's kind of like, it's got a lot of jazz fusion elements, the album I made.
Yeah, for sure.
At that time, I had Keith Carlock play drums and Michael Rhodes, and kind of like, a lot of Steely Dan-esque type chord changes. But I was a 19-year-old.
Yeah,
I was a 19-year-old kid, kind of had that pop voice thing going on. Yeah, it's been an interesting journey living in Nashville and interacting with so many songwriters and producers, and there's just so much talent here. It's a wonderful community.
At that young age, most of the clubs on South Broadway are over 21. But were you exposed to any of the guitar players that were playing, like for Don Kelly and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I became friends with pretty much all those guys. I met Red Volkart back in Australia. He used to come to the Tamworth Country Music Festival. I was probably 17.
Wow.
And Red became a friend, and he's a great player. I never forget the time I saw him play acoustic guitar that I had played and had like really heavy strings on it, and he's bending and doing pedal steel bends on that guitar. And I remember just thinking, man, that was the coolest thing I ever saw. And then Johnny Highland, Phil Emanuel and Johnny Highland were friends, and I met Johnny when I first came to town, and Brent Mason, I met him at the Chet Atkins convention, and we became friends. And J.D. Simo, became friends with him, and Daniel Donato. Daniel used to come and see me play. Daniel makes me feel old because I saw. There was a moment the penny dropped where I realized that he was the young kid that was like 16 that used to come see me play down at 3rd and Lindsley. So I did get plugged into that world. I never really played on Broadway a whole lot. I mostly played out on the road. I did, have trouble being under 21 for a good while.
Yeah. What kind of guitars were you playing? So when you got to Nashville, what were your guitars? What was your setup?
Well, my acoustic guitars I always played Matons. Okay. I was playing Gretsch guitars. I played a Gretsch Country Gentleman for a good while at that time.
Which makes sense.
I played a Strat, played a 335 for a little while, a Heritage 335. What else? Played Tellys. I played Tellys a lot. Yeah. Like a 50s style Tellys.
And please tell our listeners about your crazy string setup.
Well, on my acoustic, I have it's not that crazy. I just use a 14 on top. So it's basically a set of 12s with a 14 on top. Just playing fingerstyle, and I have kind of large frets on my guitar, so it's actually quite easy to play. I find it gets a little thin up top with the 12 for me, and I play with a great classical guitarist, Slava Gregorian, on a TV.
I know Slava.
Show. You know Slava?
Yes. I saw him. I probably saw him 20 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, when he was like 12.
Yeah, he's one of the premier classical guitarists in Australia. He's really the premier classical guitarist down there now. And we played on a TV show together, and he just said, "Oh, let's just play with mics," which he was right. That was going to sound best, but I was so used to playing with a pickup. Yeah. And so I decided to juice up that high E, and I never looked back. I've been doing it for years, and it just feels good to me.
Yeah. Basically, you're playing with string gauge wise. It's 2 B strings on the.
That's what it used to be. It used to be 2 16s. Wow. So I used to have a 16 on top. But then I went down to a 14. Okay. And so I guess a 14 is a B string on some sets, but it's 14, 16, and then keeps going down. The bottom string's 53 or 54.
Same thing on your electric?
No, on electric I use 11s.
Okay.
Just a regular set of 11s.
11 through 46 maybe, or 52?
Yeah, 49.
Okay.
I think 11, 49. I think that's the standard.
And what kind of strings are you using?
I use Diodario strings.
Okay. As far as amps and guitars that you're playing now, it's still the Matons for sure. For electric guitars, what are you using?
Electric guitars, I mostly use a Strat, Telly, and a Gretsch. My Strat and Telly are both custom shop guitars. The Strat was built for me in the Fender custom shop. It's like a 63 model with a more modern radius and larger frets with a rosewood fingerboard. And the Telly is like a 53 custom shop with a really fat neck and again, a modern radius and bigger frets. And the Gretsch I'm playing now is a White Falcon Junior. Wow. And it's a really cool guitar. Yeah. So that covers a lot of ground for me. I use a little Champ mostly. I was on the road. Was in the band called Guitar Army with Robin Ford and Leroy Parnell, and I learned a lot about tone hanging out with Robin and Leroy. And Robin connected me with Alexander Dumble, who has become a really good friend. And Alexander turned me on to the Little Champs. He likes working on the Tweed Champs. He has a model called the Little Tiger. I decided to pick up one of these little blackface champs to see if I could get away with that lower wattage. And you know what? It works great. I play a lot of theaters and listening rooms. And, you know, for my solo one-man acoustic electric show, a champ is great. It fits in the Pelican case. I use it in the studio a lot, and I have, you know, a variety of bigger amps that I use on the road with different people, but yeah, mostly using a champ now.
The champ does have a 12-inch speaker?
No, it's a...
Is it the 8?
It's an 8, yeah.
Wow. And it gives you the sound that you're looking for. Like, it has the low end that you need from that 8?
Well, yeah. It needs a mic on it, and it needs to be cranked through the PA.
Okay.
And the occasion I can't get the front of house person to quite buy into that. I struggle. Yeah. But it's just tone in a box. You just dime it, and you know, I use the volume knob on my guitar, and I'm happy as Larry. You know, it's funny because the other amp that I use a lot is I use a Showman with a 115, 66 Showman.
Wow.
And that has bottom end for days.
Yes, exactly. That is nothing but bottom end.
So I like it all. I mean, but the champ's been working for me, although I wish I was out on the road more.
Oh, sure. As we all do.
At the moment, not the case.
Do you, on your calendar, do you have any scheduled shows?
I do, but
you're not sure.
I don't think much is going to be happening until next year, to be honest.
Yeah.
I have a few things here and there.
Recently I've talked to a few other guitar players, and they all say the same thing.
Yeah.
Anything local that you're going to be doing? Anything in Nashville? Is Nashville doing live music yet or not yet?
I'm not really sure. I think there's people playing in the bars and whatnot, but you know, in terms of, and I think the Franklin Theater's opened back up.
Okay.
And there's not a lot going on from what I can tell. And I'm speaking at the Guitar Gathering, which is like a guitar camp conference at Tribeca University. Robin Ford's doing it, I'm doing it, and that's at the end of July. So
okay.
Steve Krentz puts that on, and I've done it in the past, and it's fun. So hopefully that, you know, goes ahead. I have word that it is.
Yeah. Good.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, no kidding. And this has been too long for all of us. I have been watching your videos on YouTube, and most of them you have a ton of videos on YouTube, but recently you've been doing some Chet Atkins tunes and some of your own tunes, and they're delightful, and it really gives you a great idea of your capabilities, which are immense.
Thanks. Well, you know, it's inspiring being around Tommy. You know, just before the shutdown, I was on the road with him for just a couple of shows. I know he's super passionate about carrying on the legacy of Chet.
Sure.
You know, he heard Chet play when he was like 5, and it kind of changed his life. And I heard Tommy and Chet as well, and Jerry Reed and all those guys. And I really feel, you know, a responsibility to share that music and those arrangements with people. You know, a lot of my audience are people my age, guitar players, you know, 25 to 35 is the most popular demographic online. You know, I want to share this good music with people. And it's been fun to be home. I've got a great routine going, and, you know, I have a studio, and I can make videos and put them online. And I put a video on Facebook the other day, got 6,000 shares and 500,000 views. And,
wow.
You know, it's an amazing world, and it's an amazing, to be honest, it's amazing how many people you can reach without stepping onto a stage.
Yeah. Are there any guitar players that you're listening to right now, newer guitar players, that you think people should check out?
I'm trying to think of a direction to steer people. You know, I don't listen to a lot of new guitar players. Of course, there are some really inspiring, wonderful people out there. I've been listening to Sergio Assad recently.
Definitely not a new guitar player.
No, he asked me to play on a composition of his for a project called the Virtual Guitar Orchestra, which will be launching soon. They did one video. It features like they have hundreds of guitarists play together in this ensemble. It's really, really cool. And he asked me to feature on kind of like a fingerstyle focused piece, and I've just been listening to the Assad brothers. Just really, it's so much beautiful music. And you know, when I played a show opening for Paco Peña one time, it had the same feeling of like, this is a language of music that it's not native to me, but it's so beautiful and so expressive.
Oh yeah.
And the same feeling, I played in front of Paco de Lucia.
Oh, wow.
So that's where I'm going for inspiration right now.
Yeah. In your practice routine, do you practice much classical guitar or flamenco?
Not really. And in fact, I don't really connect with the way most classical guitar, like from a technical standpoint, the way most classical guitar players play. When you hear someone like Sergio or John Williams play, the technique is breathtaking.
Sure.
I love classical music, but I don't really play classical guitar at all. Yeah, I mean, when I'm practicing, my favorite routine right now is I get up at 4 a.m. and practice. I love playing gypsy swing and trying to play bluegrass and really figure out how to flat pick.
Yeah.
Like I want to. It's always been a dream of mine. I always watch these Tony Rice videos, and I can't tell if he's doing double down strokes or 2 up strokes, but I'm piecing it together.
Good. And, that way you can teach me.
Yeah, I'm doing my best.
Do you teach lessons?
I don't. I haven't in the past. However, I have a new TrueFire channel.
Okay,
which
great.
Which is really exciting. I was able to kind of create that during this lockdown, and so I have about 50 videos up there right now. And there is an option to have video exchange lessons. Students, send me a video of them playing, and then I send a video back and try and be as detailed and as encouraging as I can. And it's a great system. A lot of wonderful players have channels now, and
for sure.
I think it's a wonderful thing to share. Whatever I've learned with people. I always enjoy teaching at guitar camps and that kind of thing. I do a bit of teaching.
Can people get a hold of those TrueFire lessons through your website?
Yeah, you can go to my website. There's a link to everything.
Okay.
There's a courses page. I also have a course called Joe's 12, which is a 12-week course, and I interviewed like all my mentors. I interviewed Steve Vai and Eric Johnson and Robin Ford and John Jorgensen, Tommy Emmanuel, and songwriters. I interviewed Rodney Crowell and Gary Nicholson and Brent Mayer and Joe Glazer interviewed Fred Gretsch. It was a really cool project to put that together.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
You can go to my website, joerobinson.com, and you can click on the courses page and link to my TrueFire channel as well as Joe's 12.
Okay. And does it cost money for the Joe's 12?
Yeah, it's $12 a week for 12 weeks.
Okay, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Netflix miniseries, really. Each week's 90 minutes, and each week's a different topic, from practicing to songwriting to arranging to touring to recording and collaboration, and it's really broad. And it's we've just had rave reviews for that program, so I'm really proud of it.
So your mom came with you the first time you came to Nashville. Has your father been out to Nashville?
He hasn't been over. I've been trying to drag him over. I mean, he's on a block of land, and there's responsibilities that go along with that.
Absolutely.
His routine is he goes surfing every other day.
Does he really?
And hangs out on the farm. That's kind of his life. And I'm trying to talk him into coming to America. I think he and Mum will probably come over once this all opens back up. I'm getting married toward the end of this year. I'm just waiting on a visa. My fiance is Canadian. So we're separated. We can't visit each other right now.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Because the border's closed.
Yes, of course.
But I imagine that we open up at some point.
Oh yeah.
Throughout the summer. Yeah, once we get the visa issued, we can get married, and maybe my parents come over. But that, depending on the borders and whatnot.
Exactly. Do you live in a house or an apartment? And I'm only thinking about the 4 a.m. practice sessions.
Yeah, I live in a house.
Okay.
I just love to wake up early. When I was a teenager, somehow, I don't know if I read in a magazine or somewhere that some crazy disciplined guitar player was into doing that, but I set my alarm for 4 a.m. through a lot of high school. Wow. And I would go to school, I would catch the school bus and sleep the whole way and walk into class with drool on my shirt from sleeping on the bus. and I've always craved doing that, but you can't do it when you're touring, obviously, because you go on stage at 8 p.m. I go to bed at 8 p.m. now. but it's nice. I guess that's the kind of farm raised boy in me. I like to get up early, and that's when I'm most focused for sure.
That's cool. Very cool. Are you working on a new record?
I am. I've been working with a great producer, Brent Mayer.
Okay.
Who is an AES Hall of Fame member and has a bunch of Grammy Awards and has worked with everybody from Ike and Tina Turner to Duke Ellington. I mean, you name it. He's an amazing guy. And we've actually written all the songs together, and it's myself, Glenn Worf on upright bass and electric bass on a couple of things, and Nia Z on drums. We got strings on a song, and some really nice textures, and I'm really happy with how it's coming together. I've already finished half the album. I just have to kind of get in the studio and record another few sides. That album's definitely coming together, and I'm excited to be sharing it soon.
I'm excited to hear it. Are the venues that you're playing when you're playing solo, what size venues are you playing?
A lot of listening rooms. So 200 to 500 seats often.
That's good.
Sometimes bigger, sometimes smaller. Generally it's that kind of a range. I had a really busy last year. I was just out constantly. I think I played 160 shows.
Wow.
Thereabouts. A good number of shows with Rodney Crowell.
Yeah.
I love, working with Rodney. We have this acoustic trio, and that's just a blast. And, sometimes I play guitar with Emmylou Harris.
Wow.
Playing in her Red Dirt Boys. So that's fun. And playing with Tommy and Frank Vignola and different great players I'd get the chance to be on the bill with.
Icons, basically. You're playing with icons.
Yeah. No, it's a special thing. I mean, I always dreamed of this. It's just amazing to me. I can be in Nashville and, people give me a chance, and I always try and turn up and exceed expectations.
Sure.
And, I remember the first time I had a rehearsal with Emmylou, her tour manager, Maple Byrne, who's a famous guitar collector and, a real character and wonderful guy. He sent me a list of about 30 songs and said, these are the kind of songs she picks from sometimes, and I learned every one of them.
Wow.
And I turned up in the rehearsal and she looked at me and said, you already know the songs. We just had to dial in the harmony parts a little bit. I pinched myself at the opportunities that have, presented themselves from being in Nashville. I have friends back in Australia that I kind of came through the ranks with that didn't move over here, and I'm so grateful that I did, and I had the chance to, and I had the guts to. It's just led to so many wonderful things, and as I said earlier, Jed Hughes coming over here and doing so well inspired me, as well as Tal Wilkenfeld.
Yeah.
And I told Tal that she's just got that spirit of get out there and do it, and I really connected with that and still do. She's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna let you go, and I appreciate. Oh, I should ask you anything you do outside of guitar playing. Anything like any kind of hobbies or anything like that?
Well, I love to read. I'm obsessed with reading. I'm trying to read 100 books this year.
Wow.
The last couple of years, I read 60. Generally, my routine is, I get up at 4 a.m., I take a cold shower. I'm totally the stoic guy. And then I practice, and then I have breakfast, and then I work in the studio for about 4 hours, and then I try and read the rest of the day.
Wow.
That's what I love to do. Yeah, I love being home. It's so nice. This is the longest I've been home since I was young, so I'm just enjoying. I'm learning how to cook. I'm learning how to make sourdough bread. I'm just like the Renaissance man these days. So I feel like I have a lot of hobbies, but
what do you like cooking?
Well, I love going to. Here's what I've been trying to do. I've been trying to not go to a grocery store. I haven't been to a grocery store since March.
Wow.
So I bought an eighth of a cow from a grass-fed farm. I called them up and ordered it, and they brought it around and put it in my freezer.
Wow.
And I go to the local farmer's market. I have another farm, a homestead, where I can get grass-fed lamb.
Wow.
And some other friends of mine have a farm where you can get pasture-raised chickens. So I'm all about the homesteading life of finding local produce, because you know what? I was actually in China just before this whole thing broke out. I was on tour over there for 2 weeks. I love the people in China, like beautiful people, beautiful culture, but oh my goodness, that place is just the most chaotic, environmentally concerning place. And I just think that whatever the result of all this is going to be, it's going to be shifting to a more local lifestyle.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I've been enjoying figuring out how to do that. And of course, I grew up on a family farm where we grow our own food.
Yes.
If we wanted a sheep killed, someone would come and they'd butcher it in the backyard and leave it bleeding out in a cardboard box. I mean, it was pretty rural life. So I enjoy finding the farms that I like and patronizing them. And
very good.
Yeah, that's my culinary style, I guess.
I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, well, I'm going to let you go, Joe. And if people want to find you, they go to joerobinson.com.
Yep.
And you're on Facebook.
Yep. Facebook, YouTube, and all those channels. And joerobinson.com is the best place if you're interested in the True Fire channel and Joe's 12.
Okay.
Plenty of music online as well.
Yeah, well, I look forward to seeing you. Hopefully, who knows where, but hopefully out here on the West Coast, or if I get to Nashville before this is all over, I'm going to look you up.
Sounds great, James. Well, nice chatting with you, mate, and thanks for the interview.
My pleasure, and an honor, too.
Well, Well, it's an honor for me to be in this magazine. It's super cool for me. I don't take it for granted. So thanks.
You're an excellent guitar player.
Thanks, James.
Okay, I will talk to you later.
Take care, James. Thanks.
Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to Have Guitar Will Travel. You can catch up on all the things I'm doing at thedeadlies.com. And I'm on all the social media platforms as well. And please support Vintage Guitar and all the wonderful things they do, because they do many, many wonderful things for us guitar players. Thanks. Please subscribe. Please tell a friend. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye, guys.